All right, folks, it's Masters survey time. Let's see what the people said in response to our questions.
There are 4 majors. Which is your favorite to watch?
My favorite major to watch is the US Open. It's just entertaining as hell. There's so much going on. I love carnage. Those are all good things, but by far the best major to watch is the Masters. But that's kind of a cheat code. They don't show any commercials. You can watch as much as you want. So yeah, kind of an easy choice as far as the best one from a viewer perspective.
At a whopping 86.2%, people said their favorite major to watch was the Masters.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. All right. So the hack is essentially just turn the saturation up on your broadcast and you can jack the ratings up all the way. 86%, seriously?
Now, what if we compared which do you enjoy watching more, the Masters or the Ryder Cup?
Man, again, from a viewing perspective, the Masters is, at the very top of the podium, but the Ryder Cup is infinitely more entertaining. There are 2 days of the Masters where there's not really anything effectual happening for the tournament. There are 2 days of the Ryder Cup where people are battling with each other. We've got constant action happening. There are fist pumps everywhere. Bryson's throwing his driver up in the air. It's not close. The Ryder Cup is a more entertaining watch, even if the commercials and all that other stuff that come with it are much more than it is for the Masters.
Our audience poll says people enjoyed watching the Ryder Cup more at a 23% clip, 76% for the Masters.
Stop it.
No.
Stop it. Oh my God. A blowout? I'll tell you what it is. I know what it is. It's the Masters theme song. It's the, as soon as people start hearing that piano riff, all of a sudden it just transports them into this state of nirvana.
If you could visit one of these off-limit spots on Augusta National's grounds, which would you choose? The Crow's Nest, the Champions Locker Room, Butler Cabin, or the Clubhouse Wine Cellar?
All right, if I could pick one place to be in the Augusta National Clubhouse, the answer is none of the above. I'm going to the place in the Augusta Clubhouse. I know it exists somewhere where they still keep the Georgia Peach ice cream sandwiches in a freezer, maybe. I know there are some ice cream sandwiches still left. I've been trying to find them out. I have not been able to recover them, but that's where I would go if I could go to one off-access area. And if I'm actually answering the question, I would say probably the Crow's Nest was what our readership picked as the place to go. I think that is kind of the coolest spot as far as the off-access places are concerned. It's kind of like a college dorm from what I understand, but you do get kind of the night at the museum effect of kind of being in the middle of everything in the clubhouse. So yeah, that would be my guess.
Most of our readers actually said they'd like to hang out in the Champions Locker Room.
Are you
not
kidding
the
me?
Crow's Nest. No, I'm not.
The Champions Locker Room? That place is a broom closet. There's nothing in there. Seriously? The Champions Locker Room?
52% of our readership want to visit the Champions Locker Room.
All right, well, I mean, you're kind of looking at a good version of the Champions Locker Room right now. It's my shoebox New York City apartment. That's about the same size as the Champions Locker Room. It's a super small place. I get it's incredibly historic. I get it's, rarefied air and all of those things. But there's not much there. Wouldn't you rather see the Crow's Nest? Wouldn't you rather see the wine cellar? There are some real secrets hiding in those hallways and around those corners, and you're not going to find it in the 100-square-foot Champions Locker Room.
Multiple choice here. What's the best Masters tradition? The Champions Dinner, the ceremonial opening tee shots, the green jacket, the par 3 contest, or the pimento cheese sandwich?
Man. All right, I'm gonna say the pimento cheese sandwich, and here's my argument for why. The number of people who attend the Champions Dinner every year is, I think, less than 50. The number of people who actually contribute to the par 3 contest is less than a few hundred. But there are at least 50,000 people that are trying a pimento cheese sandwich every year at the Masters. It's something that belongs to the people. And the fact it's only $1.50 remains the greatest bargain in all of professional sports. So yeah, I would say the other traditions are obviously more historic, but I think this tradition is probably the most utilitarian of all of the all the Masters traditions.
I wish more people had heard you say that ahead of time, because only 5% of our readers agreed with you.
Oh, no!
The winning entry here was the green jacket at 31%,
Okay.
Champions Dinner at 27%.
Okay.
I agree with you. It's a little shocking.
That's fair, though. The green jacket is sort of the iconic Masters thing. I'll admit, the first time I got on site, when I saw someone walking around with the green jacket for the first time, I was starstruck. I was starstruck. So I can understand where they're coming from.
If you could sit at one hole, but only one hole for a Masters round, where are you parking yourself?
All right, so there are a few good answers to this, but I have some visual proof of what my actual answer would be, and it's right here. It's the grandstand on the back side of the 15th green, preferably in one of these two sections right over here. And the reason why you want to be seated over here is because in these two sections you can see, especially if you're higher up, you can see the approach shots into number 15, and then you can see the tee shots out on number 16. And if you're in the best possible position, which is the top row, you can even see the approaches into 16 as well. It's the best spot in the tournament, and particularly on Sundays when the leaders are coming down the stretch, the tension is high, there's pressure everywhere, particularly on these two approach shots. There's drama everywhere. There's no better place in the whole tournament to be than right off the side of 15.
We posed a question to our readers: which is the best Masters of the modern era? Jack Nicklaus in 1975 fends off Johnny Miller and Tom Weiskopf. In 1986, Jack wins his 6th at age 46. In 97, Tiger wins his 1st. Or in 2019, Tiger Woods wins his 5th after returning from injury.
All right, so call it recency bias, call it being the only Masters I was alive for bias, but 2019 is definitely far and away the first out of those 4 options. I understand what the argument might be for Jack in '86. That was obviously an incredibly historic Masters. The bear has come out of hibernation, the famous Jim Nantz call. I get it, I understand the allure. But 2019, societally, in terms of our heroic golfer, Tiger Woods, being the greatest comeback story in the history of the sport, all of those things make that rarefied air.
Well, our readers thought the most iconic of them was actually Jack's 6th win in '86.
I don't know many golf fans my age that, or even remotely close to my age, that would be taking '86 over 2019. Golf.com readership, if you're seeing this, I'm sorry to call you old, but I think you kind of outed yourselves with that answer.
Will live golfers competing in the 2023 Masters make you any more or less likely to watch?
So I actually asked this question to CBS Sports Chairman Sean McManus the other day, and he didn't seem to think that there was a huge bump in intrigue. He said, Masters is interesting every year. People are interested every year. I don't know how much of that was grandstanding on behalf of Augusta National and how much of it was the truth, but I tend to think that there is an increase in intrigue. I think people have been paying attention to the live stuff, and I think that they're going to be watching as a result of it. I think they want to see how these guys from the rival tour are going to compete in the first real setting against members of the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I think McManus hit that one on the head. Our readers said 70% of them said they're no more or less likely to watch the Masters.
Really?
Because
70%?
they're probably all going to be watching.
Well, I guess if you're responding to a survey about the Masters, you probably are intending to watch it. This might be a little bit of survey bias in the process here. I tend to think when we look at the brass tacks of it, when we look at the TV ratings, we'll see that more people tuned in this year than in previous years.
How much would you pay for one grounds pass to one Masters tournament round?
To go as a patron and be there on just my lonesome, I would pay about $1,000. I think the average resale price is probably about $1,500 for a tournament round, so I think that's a little bit below. But the experience is awesome, and to do it for the first time, that would be cool. I would pay that money and feel good about it.
82% of our readers said that they would pay no more than $500 for one of those grounds
Really?
passes.
Wow. Okay. All right. Stingy readership.
Up to $1,000 at 15%.
Okay.
and more than 1,000 at 3%.
What I'll say in defense of our readership is the lack of phones thing, as someone who's been to the Masters, is a real impediment to enjoying the action. It's actually almost more entertaining to watch on TV because you can see every great shot that happens, whereas when you're on the grounds, you'll be standing on the 16th tee box and then you'll hear a roar behind you, and you won't know what that is until you either look up at the leaderboard or you get back into the action.
Here's a tough one. Would you rather attend the Masters or play Augusta National?
I'd rather play Augusta National 100 times out of 100. The Masters is super fun, but the experience of playing Augusta National is everything great about the Masters, but it's just for you. And that feels so special.
Our readers agreed with you. 83% of them said that they would rather play Augusta National than attend the Masters.
All right. I'm glad to hear we're on the same page about something. See, we can have some common ground in the end here.
James Colgan, would you get a small Masters logo tattooed on your ankle in exchange for a round at Augusta National?
Would I get a small tattoo on my ankle? I would get the Masters logo strapped across my chest and my back just for the chance to play Augusta National. But if you're hearing this and you actually want to hold me to that, you know, we can have a negotiation about what it would actually take to get me there. But yeah, no, I would absolutely get an ankle tattoo. I would do more than an ankle tattoo, I think.
This was the closest one yet. 50.2% of our readers said yes, they would do that.
Okay.
49.8% said no.
You know, I understand there are a fair amount of people who feel their body is a temple. Anthony Bourdain once said, I'm more of a believer that my body's an amusement park, particularly when that amusement park brings me to Augusta National.